Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's all my fault. We started late. We were sitting here visiting with our guest, Aaron, and the time just got away from us. So thank you so much for tuning in. Charlene, this show has been so much fun. The guest has been fantastic, haven't they?
Been amazing. We're having fun whether we're on or off camera, aren't we?
We certainly are. And the thing that really gets me is that, the type of people we have that come on and the information they share, my goodness gracious, it makes our show popular. We're watched by thousands and thousands of people every broadcast. And goodness, people ask me, how do you do it? Well, you get on good guests, you be quiet.
That easy.
Yeah, because
And
if you're,
Austin's going to be one of those today. You're going to love it.
oh yeah, he's going to put on his Joe Cool sunglasses there. We're going to sing, I wear my sunglasses at night. But realistically, if you're out there and you're thinking about doing a podcast, or if you have a podcast or something like that, the best advice I can give you, and this comes with a little bit of experience. I've done a radio show for a little while, and we've got over 6 million downloads there. So I probably got decent advice for you. It's just like when people tune in to watch America's Got Talent on TV. Simon's going to be there, and Howie and a couple other people. They're the host. But you really didn't tune in to listen to them. You tuned in to be entertained by the guest. And that same principle applies whether it's a radio show, a podcast, a Facebook Live, a TV show like this. The principle is the same. And Charlene, I want to personally thank you for being an honorary host here on E360 TV. And you're the lady who helps us with our commercials. And she was so kind. She said, Jim, the reason I want to do the commercials for you is because they've seen enough of you.
It froze up there for a minute. Well, thank you for having me. I love it.
Oh, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Aaron. His Joe Cool sunglasses on. He's got them on backstage. And we'll be right back right after this brief message.
Hi, and welcome to the Messages of Inspiration and Hope show that's proudly sponsored by the 6-Minute Webinar. Today we have some exciting and very interesting guests, real people just like you and me. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the show. Now here's Jim.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. And I think my video might have froze there for a second, but I tell you right now, the show that we got for you today, Austin, is amazing. Some of the information he's already shared with us. He's going to be telling us about a trip he took last year, I think it was, during the pandemic.
How exciting.
Oh, yeah, it really is. And he's got his Joe Cool sunglasses on, so let's welcome him to the show. Austin, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
I am doing exceptional today, Jim, and it's an honor to be with you and Charlene today. And we've chatted back and forth over the past weeks. And although I'm just getting to know you, I know that you've been at this for a while. So I am honored to be with the two of you today and to be able to put on these Flashpoint sunglasses, which we'll talk about these as the show unfolds, I'm sure.
Do you wear your sunglasses?
Stories.
Are you like that song, I wear my sunglasses at night?
Yes. If they're these sunglasses, the Flashpoint sunglasses, yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. And I was telling Charlene before the show that that you were referred to us by Dr. Sony Jackson. So Sony, if you're tuning in, thank you so much. Appreciate it, because we really appreciate, when we have, good friends like Dr. Sony Jackson and others that refer, people that they know would be great for the show. So I got to give her a shout out for this, because she's the one that made this all happen, on this particular show. And Austin, I know you're a great friend of hers, and you've also been on Tamara Hunter's show, huh?
Yes, Tamara's amazing. That show was just absolutely amazing. I highly recommend everyone to check out Tamara. I was so humbled by what she did and the preparation, and it's connected me here. And it's amazing the people that I've met are just centered, amazing people, like heart-centered is what I like to call it.
Definitely.
It's invaluable. Invaluable.
We
Well,
love Tamara.
oh yeah, I call her Tamara Sue. She's my sister. She was the one that introduced us to Aaron Hymas at E360 TV. He took a look at what we were doing last year during the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, we were on Zoom and Facebook Live. We were big time, right? But really, that's all we all had back then. I mean, because no one could go anywhere. And we put on messages of inspiration, hope, had a bunch of speakers come on, hundreds of them, as a matter of fact. And then Tamara says, Jim, you need to take this to E360 TV rather than just being on Zoom and Facebook Live. And I said, okay, you know, I mean, and you're also going to be having a show. You're going to be moving on up to E360 TV. You've got a show coming on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Everything's happening, Jim. And you know, when you're on purpose and you're serving people, great things are going to happen at some point. And maybe you don't know when. And that's the whole premise of Flashpoint. But the show is called Flashpoint. And the main theme is that your turnaround story starts here or starts on that show. And we actually take people where they've experienced that turnaround and we showcase that story on the show. And it's amazing. We all have a story.
Right.
We do.
And I know the both of you have a story. You have a story. But a lot of times when we're going the wrong direction, we may not realize it. And that's the whole point. But there is a point where things turn around. And some of these stories are tremendous, what people have overcome, what they've experienced. And to be able to bring that and share that with the world, especially now, similar to what you're doing, it can change a person's life. And I've experienced it firsthand. I've had people reach out to me, and the messages that I've received have been almost bring you to tears.
Yeah. You know, just yesterday, excuse me, Charlene, I was just going to say yesterday we had two ladies on the show. One is a great friend of ours. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed that show, you can still see it, because just go to e360.com, e360tv.com, and scroll down. Is it Positive Vibrations? I think that's the row we're in. And go on over to Messages of Inspiration and Hope. You'll see Angel Marie Monticelli. She got up and did the shine on thing and the music and all, because we had her.
Yes, I know her too. Yes, absolutely. Yes, she's amazing. She's got a great energy. I met her through my friend Emilio and Daniela Roman. They did a summit. She hosted it. She is a pro at what she does, and she's just creates a great environment, lots of energy.
We had her up there at the Pathway for Vets event in Colorado Springs. I was the MC, and she outshined me. I was telling everybody yesterday on the show that, you know, she has that shine and do all this stuff. And the music is very uplifting too. Charlene, I think you saw that too, how uplifting it was. Was that the first time you had met her? Or, I mean, I know you know her, but that's the first time you ever seen her do this.
I had met her before, but I hadn't danced with her before. So I hadn't seen everything.
You don't know somebody until you dance with them, right, Charlene?
We don't. I know her very well now. We did the whole, you know, she had us all moving, didn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was sharing with the audience yesterday, Austin, I don't know if you know Bill Heinrich or not.
I do not.
Okay. He's part of all of our family. In fact, Bill and Don McGrath and I, we're all three partners and stuff. And she got everybody up to do the shine on music, shine on dance to the music. And I'm trying to, figure out, catch up and all that, and that sort of thing. And I made a mistake. I looked over at Bill and I thought, what is he doing? And he was doing something like the boogaloo and the combo boogaloo and the watusi, and I got the giggles. And when you get the giggles and you're trying to catch up with, stay with the flow of the dance, it's a train wreck. You just might as well give it up right there.
Yes. Yes, I've been there. I'm sorry to say, but I've been there myself. Trying to, especially if you look at the person and they're not doing the right thing. They're kind of doing their own thing, and then you end up doing their thing. It's like,
And Charlene, did you know that when Austin goes out to sing karaoke, he makes an impression on everybody?
Well, I can't wait. Give us
Yeah.
a little view of that. What do you do?
Tell
Wow.
her on your website, what do you say about karaoke?
I'm a famous bad karaoke singer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I love to have fun with it. It's
Oh, yeah.
you know,
We had, when I was in the military, we were reserves. I was a designated driver for the designated drunks. Okay.
I've been there.
So they wanted to go karaoke bar. And, being the designated driver is not a lot of fun. So me being, with my warped mind and lack of sense or sense of humor, depending on how well you know me, I thought, okay. So I went over to talk to the DJ, and we rearranged some of the songs that the people had selected. Can you imagine some guy trying to sing Blue Bayou by Linda Ronstadt?
That'd be funny. That'd be funny. I'll have to share with you one of my songs. I think not sing it, but we can do it now, or we can share it later. Whatever.
Go for it. No.
Let us.
One of the songs I love to do is "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" by the Charlie Daniels Band.
Know it well. Mm-hmm.
It is such a fun song to sing, and the fiddle. Oh man, audience just love it. Love it. I don't know if the audience loves it, but I love it.
But you love it, and that's what's important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If you're having fun, somebody else will have fun eventually. Right?
Oh yeah.
Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it, Charlie. Absolutely. That's what we're talking about.
I tell you, it's really amazing, and to have fun is very important. And in this day and time, there's a lot of people who are suffering. They're worried and they're scared, and
Yes.
let's face it. I mean, just about a year or so ago, 11 and a half months ago, whatever it was. I mean, you go to the grocery store, the first thing you did was get out of the car and jetpack straight to the toilet paper aisle. And if they had toilet paper, you felt like a kid at Christmas. How pitiful is that when you stop and think about it,
Yeah.
Fear does strange things to people, including creating toilet paper scarcity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I mean, you think canned goods would be up there on the list, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We found out what was important, Jim. We did.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Maybe there's plenty going in, and they needed to cover the, anyway.
They had it. Yeah, they had the food.
But
Well,
go ahead, Charlie, please.
I was wanting to know more about Flashpoint. Tell me what Flashpoint is, because it's on the sunglasses. So
Yeah,
I
show them
just
on the
wanted to-
sunglasses there.
yeah.
Yeah, show them on the sunglasses, the side of it, Austin, first.
I haven't
Yes.
received my pair yet, but I saw on the side that's down. Yeah,
There you go. Perfect. Flashpoint.
Flashpoint, is that like Flash Dance?
Now, I'm not going to go there for me. Other people will, but
I wouldn't want to see you in tights anyway, brother.
no, I'm with you there, Jim. Believe me, I'm with you. Nor do I want to see you in tights.
Thank you for that.
Yes, we just saved everybody, but although they might be left with the visual, so we apologize for the visual in advance. But this was something that was organic in its nature. I had a live event in December, which was in-person event. There's another thing people thought I was crazy to do that.
Mhm.
We can talk about that at some point. But I had this idea, because of the brand, I'm like, Flashpoint. It made sense because. And it's a blue. These are blue lenses, which I didn't even plan that. It just happened that way. And the whole idea is it's a symbol. Now you may say your future's so bright, you have to wear shades. But what happened organically at the event was that I said to people, "What if you could change your past?" And they were like, "Wait, what do you mean? What if I could change?" Okay, they're like, "What did I just sign up for?" You mean to tell me I'm going to change my past? And the message, I'll make the message short, but my story was, when I began to look at my past differently, it changed. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
I love that. I love it.
It's liberating, because some people are enslaved by what happened,
Mhm.
what somebody did to them.
Exactly.
So the sunglasses, although they're fun and we love them, we have everybody wants them. My people around the world saying, "I want those sunglasses." What it is it's a reminder that when you put these on, you can choose to look at things in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Flashpoint sunglasses.
Love it. I love that. How inspiring.
Yeah.
It really is inspiring, because everyone in their life, they've had things that, that they see very well, they remember very well in the rearview mirror. And sometimes that robs them of everything, their health, their happiness, their everything. Because if you're not happy on the inside, you're not that healthy on the inside.
So true. So true, Jim. We have a wellness program too, and we talk about that all the time. That thinking and the emotions, it's all a part of our health. I'm so glad you brought that up, Jim.
Well, thank you. And, share a little bit with the folks, a little bit about yourself. How did you get into be this guy that's wearing the cool sunglasses?
Well, thank you for that question, Jim. I appreciate that. And I want to tell you that I honor this right here. I honor this exchange with you and Charlene. I honor this exchange with the guests and the listener that doesn't even know me. Maybe they're seeing you for the first time. Mm-hmm. I honor this because every time I do something like this, I'm reminded of what it took to get here, to be on here with you live. Mm-hmm. And I know the journey that it took to get here. And I'll make a long story rather short, because we want to keep this fun. But there was a moment when I had something happen in my life when I said my life was over. Now, the words are one thing, but I believed the words to be true at that point in my life. And I know listeners are going to resonate. Somebody will.
Absolutely.
And they really felt like my life is done. And I felt that. But through the grace of God and through a lot of the components that are in Flashpoint, my life was able to turn around. And that turnaround story, I have a quote, and it's my story. I took the long road, but I'll still end up on time. And that's my story. And that's why I'm here with you today, because I took the long road to get here. And now that I've been able to extract the key components to a turnaround to achieve anything that you want in life, I'm able to condense it and relay it and teach it in whatever way. I don't care. Like, I'm not caught up in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be my way. It's your way. And your way can be co-created with the right people. Like with this, messages of inspiration and hope through the platform that you're doing. People are going to hear this. It's going to move them. Even if we don't know them, we know that this is going to move their hearts and their minds. And it could be a beacon. This could be a beacon in a very dark time for some people out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think people will say, hey, if he can do it, Austin did this, I can do this. Let's listen to this, because that's what we all need, mentors, and we need to know that somebody else has been there. It's not just us. We're not alone in this.
Right.
So, absolutely.
Amen to that.
The thing too that I really like, like, let me put Charlene's website up there, and I'm going to give her a chance to share a little bit about it. But every single person that we've had on, and even the way this show came about, each and every one of us, we have skin in the game, because there's a lot of people out there who read a book or, study on something, and they say, well, okay, I'm going to do my version of that. But they don't have any skin in the game. And when you have skin in the game, there's something about that. It just vibrates through the airways, and someone out there can say, hey, I can relate to that person. So that's why you need to take your story, your flashpoint, and share it with the world, because there's someone out there that you can touch. And that's critical in life. And Charlene, would you be kind enough to share a little bit about healingacresneveragain.org? how that came in, please.
Absolutely. That's my nonprofit organization. And we reach out to people who have been through sexual trauma, and whether it be childhood sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, or abortion. And it came about because of my own life. As a young child, I had experienced sexual abuse, rape, all of them. So it was, my flashpoint was just coming to that point where you do have to look at the past. You have to face it, and then you can overcome it. And you even look back, and it makes you the person that you are today. So we all have different traumas that we go through, and we can all help each other in different ways. So Hannah is there to reach out for people who have been through sexual traumas.
Thank you so much, because originally I met Charlene. She was on the original webinar series that we had on Zoom and Facebook Live. And here's this beautiful lady. She's got a light in her eyes. She's very, she looks like, she's got the world in her hip pocket and born with a silver spoon in her mouth and all that. She started sharing her story. And the thing I thought about, my goodness gracious, look what she's overcome in life. And she's a beautiful person, because what happened to her did not own her or define her or enslave her. And that just blew me away. And I mean, Austin, what little bit you heard about Charlene's story there, I mean, goodness, that touches your heart, doesn't it?
I actually did some research before I came on, so I knew I wanted to understand, like, who I'm talking with. And I heard your story, and I have people in my circle, so I totally relate and resonate. Although I'm a white male, I have a lot of women in my life that reach out to me that have gone through that, and I didn't ask for that. Like, I didn't say, hey, but for some reason, we attract sometimes people that are looking for that healing. They're looking for that healing space. Yeah. So I completely honor what you're doing, and I know that it can be hard for people to reach out. And that's why it's so important for people to share this message, because for your own personal story, it's very difficult when you're in it to reach out. You feel like it's your fault. And a lot of women walk around feeling like it's their fault. So if I just encourage people to reach out to you, Charlene, for sure.
And that shame is not theirs. So absolutely. Anybody who is in that, and it happens to about 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men before they turn 18. So it happens to men too. We work with all different men, women, children. It's a problem that's out there, and it needs to be addressed. It doesn't need to be quieted. We need to talk about it and let them know it's not your fault. And there's things that you take to overcome that shame and give it back to where it belongs.
And that's a key thing you said. It's not your fault. I can't tell you how many times I've typed that and said that to people. Over and over and over again. So it's not your fault. Yes.
And then once they get good counseling and they can relate to someone, that leads them into your area of expertise of Flashpoint.
Yes.
Would you share a little bit about that, what you do there and all?
Yes. And I think it's important to say this, Jim. You talked about skin in the game. And I want to let everyone know before I talk about Flashpoint, I walked away from a 19-year job with the same company where I was in the top tier of what I did. And I had a very good income, and I walked away. I burned the ships to be able to do this because my purpose had welled up so much inside of me. My last day was on July 3rd of 2019, pre-pandemic. It's a great time to quit your job and start a business, isn't it? That's a whole nother story. I tell people, you think it comes wrapped in a bow, like it's nice being interviewed, but as well as I do, behind the scenes, to make all this happen, even to make this show happen, it's a lot, and it can be messy at times. So when I walked away, and Flashpoint was another organic thing, I feel like it was a divine download, and it just came through me. And then I ventured out, and I said, there's a moment. And the key thing for the listener is to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that there's a flashpoint moment in your future. It's a moment when things become validated. It's when you know that everything you're supposed to do is happening or going to happen or has happened.
Yes.
One of our good friends, I mentioned Bill Heinrich earlier. Bill is all about clarity in the mind, and he's in metaphysics. And he says,
Love it.
we were born into a world of survival.
Yes.
And we were born into a world of the physical world. That's where our mind's been trained. But if we just, no matter what's going on in your life right now, it's the perfect place for you. Because if you let go of the fear,
Yes.
the hate, the want, the need, the worry, and
Yeah.
just love yourself first, then you can love others.
Yes.
And I've seen this happen in my life several times over the last few years. It took me a long time to learn this because I'm kind of slow in between the ears. I'm a guy,
Me too.
But my point being is that once I did that, I mean, like this little show right here is a classic example. The way this thing got started, and I've said this before, so if you're hearing this again, ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me, but we just got together and says, what can we do? And, Dr. Sony Jackson said, well, I can do this. And Tamara says, I can do that, Tamara Hunter. And Preston said, I can do this. And Don says, I can do that. And they said, hey, Jim, what? You can host a show. Oh, okay, I can do that. And so it just amazes me how, things just come to you once you start coming from love and trying to focus on how can we help others.
Mm-hmm.
And it just destroys all barriers. Whereas if you're worried about this, if you're worried about that, and you're concerned about, getting sick with COVID or something like that, just, let it go. Let it go, because all it's going to do, because in one of my speeches one time, I was telling someone, I says, 5 years ago, we were all worried about something. Something was worried on our mind. And if someone offered you $1 million, could you, yes or no, tell them what it was? And you cannot lie. You got to tell the truth. I mean, because most of our fears I don't know what the percentage is. I know it's up in the high 90s, but they never come true. But yet, look at all the time we spend there. Oh, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. Oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? I mean, oh my goodness gracious, you've just ripped the total value, the nuggets of gold of living and life. You've just enslaved yourself, and it's a bad place to be. That's why you need a good flashpoint, right?
You need to be aware of that concept. Number one, absolutely, Jim, absolutely. I found that the awareness of it is enough, and I want to just piggyback off of what you said, because it's so important to the listener to realize that Flashpoint is not a utopian moment in the future. It's not your joy in the future. It's a validation. But your joy and everything you said, your joy, your fulfillment starts right now. Like that. And that's what I want to make sure, because people we want to avoid what I call destination addiction, which was, I'm a recovering, whatever, destination addiction kind of a person. But you can get caught up into that thinking that our joy, our happiness is in a future, in a person, in an achievement. And the achievement is merely an augmentation or a validation of everything that you know to be true today. And that's why, for Flashpoint, it's actually, I'll give you is it okay if I share the definition of it?
Sure. Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
So just so people give some clarity around this concept, because this concept, it sounds simple, but yet it can be kind of complex. And I'll tell you what I mean. The definition that I extracted for the purpose of this work was, it's the moment at which someone bursts forth into activity or being. So the definition of itself has a duality in it. And what I mean is, when you think about Flashpoint, it's not, I woke up and I strolled. It's not, I coasted. It's, I bursted into action. That's Flashpoint. And that comes from the decision that you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that everything you felt to be true is true now. And now it's just the fruition of it, which is the being. So there's the burst forth into activity, and then there's the being moment. So it's almost like the creation and the fruition. But the creation, if you think about creation, it's burst. And that's what it should be, not should be. it will be for the individual as Flashpoint unravels and unfolds for them. Does that make more sense?
Oh yeah. Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. Because, for years, one of the things that I did not think about, but I kind of thought about it, and it was what my azimuth was, that the direction I went in. I think, well, when I get this done, I'll be happy. I get that done, I'll be happy. And really, the question is, why aren't you happy now?
Now.
Be thankful that you can do that. It's kind
I
of
got
like,
cowbell here, by the way.
oh, okay.
A burst.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like I tell people, I used to make the list of the things that I wanted to get done. And you're not going to get everything done you put on the list for that day, let's be honest. And what would happen to me was that I wouldn't focus on what I got done. I'd focus on what I did not get done. Doggone it. I wish, I could have got that. And you beat yourself up unnecessarily. And people
Instead
make,
of saying, look what I did, I got all
yeah,
this done.
yeah. It's like one time, a friend of mine, he was very laid back, and he said, well, that's a problem with you alpha personalities. You're this, that. And I told him, now this is how smart I am. I told him, I said, well, I tell you what, it wasn't for us alpha personalities. You Bravo personalities probably wouldn't have a job. I mean,
True.
that's that's the only thing I could come up with.
Well,
and that's really brilliant on my part. But really, it should be a balance between
yes.
the alphas and the Bravos. And
Yes,
it's really, speaking of a good friend of ours, Angel Marie Monticelli. We got to just do about a 30-second break. In fact, about 45 seconds. We'll be right back right after this brief message.
Hi, I'm Angel Marie Monticelli with Angel Marie Shines. And I had the pleasure, the honor to go through training for the 6-minute webinar. Oh my gosh, this webinar and how it's structured and how they teach it. Thank you, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Thank you, Don McGrath and the whole team for the 6-minute webinar, because you made it so simple, easy. And the way you lined it out with the outline, I can reproduce it. And I'm already getting the engagement. I'm getting people that are coming back that are saying, oh, I love this webinar that's so short, so to the point. And I love your products and what I'm selling, but then what I'm also the services that I provide. And I do any of this because I have the framework. So thank you so much to the whole team, because the 6-minute webinar totally rocks. Thank you.
I tell you, that's just a snapshot of the energy that Angel Marie brings to the party. If you're needing a good MC to get everybody motivated, Austin knows her, Charlene knows her, I know her. She's your only choice as far as I'm concerned. She'll get them up to the shine on dance and all that stuff. She's really great. She really is.
She is just a beautiful human being. Mm-hmm. We need more of her.
Oh yeah. Charlene, before the break, we were talking about, how we beat ourselves up unnecessarily and all that. And we're always looking out yonder for our happy time or what we're, trying to get to. And, it's just amazing how we beat ourselves up like that. And it keeps us, bogged down. We feel like we're spinning our wheels trying to get there, because you're never going to get there with that attitude.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
No, it's about enjoying every minute. And it's funny because like you look back at photos from maybe 5 or even 10 years ago, and you remember thinking, oh, I was so worried about this and that, and I wish I was like that, again. It's like whether it's the way you look or different things, people worry about diet and exercise. But you look back and think, well, I should have enjoyed it back then because I was perfect. So it's about living in the moment It's like, what do we have right now? This is our life. We're supposed to enjoy it. And just pointing out those little
Yeah.
things.
So true. So true. I
And
agree.
Austin, in your life, you've done a lot of interesting things. I want you to share with the audience about your trip last year during the pandemic. And did you have enough toilet paper on your trip and all those? Not to get personal or anything, but I mean,
Good question. You know what? I had extra toilet paper, and I didn't even have to use it. So there was plenty of toilet paper across the country. Maybe there's not in your neighborhood, but there was plenty as I traveled. Thank you for that lead in, Jim. And by the way, I want to share with you, it wasn't like I said, hey, it's a pandemic, I'm going to go cross country. It was more like this was something that I had wanted to do, a part of my journey to transition out of corporate America. And I had like that personal momentum. The journey took a turn, went different than I thought. I had, a long story, I had adopted a dog. I won't tell you the whole story there, but it delayed my trip. But it delayed it. So here I am in the middle of not in the middle. Where am I? Yeah. Toward the end of the pandemic, middle of the pandemic. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I take this trip across country? I mean, my friend who was a New Jersey State police officer said, well, you better be careful. You're going to cross state lines and and people were telling me I'm crazy. You're going to get something bad's going to happen. So I did it anyway. And I'm so glad that I did. If I didn't know about the pandemic, I had the most amazing time. You would have never known that there was a pandemic going on. The people that I've met, I met a train robber. I met two guys in their 70s that do 18-mile hike in the Grand Canyon every year.
Wow.
I met a woman who owns a coffee shop in New Mexico in this cool little area. And she had picked up and moved to this little area in the middle of nowhere. I met my friend Allison, who she literally travels full time across the country. So I met all these amazing people, and that's where we created the Freedom Challenge. So I'd love to share. There's so much in this trip. I'm going to turn it over back to you because I want to see what questions you have. There were so many things that happened during this trip.
There's one question in front of my mind. Tell us about the train robber. I mean, people just don't know this. What do you do for a living? I rob trains.
Yeah, I gosh, I'm gonna have to share this with Eric. Eric Eisenberg. I think I dropping his name here. Anyway, I was in Williams, Arizona, and which is on Route 66.
Right.
I believe it was the last town on Route 66. Last town built. I believe there's some history. He talks about it. But anyway, he's a train robber, and he's probably the only man. He's the only man that I've ever known that had Bill Gates at gunpoint. So now you're going, whoa, what happened? So there's a train that runs from Williams to the Grand Canyon. And as a part of the experience, they hire guys to come in and act like train robbers, but it's legit. I mean, they have rifles, they're shooting blanks, but you would think it's real. And so they got a note one day, hey, come in, we got a special thing going on. It turned out that it was Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. And they had hired the train, and Melinda Gates had hired these train robbers as a supply for Bill Gates. So he tells the whole story way better than I'll tell it, but he robbed the train, he was in front of Bill Gates, the whole story. And by the way, we met him out of the blue. It wasn't like I didn't know him prior. We met him during the trip. We had an amazing time. I got chills. It just amazing.
Wow. Did he have a bag full of money when he got off the train, or did
he did make some money, but it wasn't on the train, Robert. I won't get into that story. But no, he did well, and he loved doing it. And obviously with the C word, it's not happening right now, but it will run again. And I hope that he's able to do that again because it's really a great thing. And he actually gave me a gift of a little miniature harmonica that I have somewhere. And
I've got a couple of friends. I've got a couple of friends there in Tombstone, Arizona, and they do the shootouts and all that, and it's a lot of fun. In fact, I was there with them think it was around 2014, something like that. And they were teasing me. He says, "Hey, what'd you do with these sideburns? Because I wore sideburns in the 70s. Of course, they got the mustaches and all that." And I said, "Well, I never did wear a mustache, but I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to grow them back just for the fun of it and just tell everybody I'm conserving razor blades."
I like it. I like it, by the way. I do. Really. I'm not saying I'm going to grow them, but I definitely, it looks good on you for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's just, just part of my way of just being different. I'm different on all fronts, but you got to be true to yourself too. You
Amen.
really do,
Amen.
And so share some more with us about, that trip.
I'll tell you what happened. One of the most surreal things that happened with my friend Diana actually was with me at this time. We did a hike in the Grand Canyon, and I'll make a long story short. We got delayed. We ended up doing a 15-mile hike, maybe 15 miles. But we got caught in the Grand Canyon after sunset.
Oh boy.
Not a part of my plan, Jim. Charlene, that was not a part of the plan. When I said, let me go out there, go to the Grand Canyon and get caught as the sun goes down. But because, there's critters out there and you're walking on the trail and you don't know, right, what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, there was a moment when I talk about, Charlene, you were talking about being in the moment. On this trail, I'm walking and of course, I'm drifting into the future. I'm thinking, got to get out of here. It's after dark. But then there was a moment where that went away. It just vanished. And I looked up and I saw the stars.
Oh, wow.
And I have chills right now thinking about it. I had chills all over my body because I hadn't seen the stars like that in so long that I could remember.
Oh,
and it spoke to me. It spoke to me. And I said, and this is the flashpoint too. It's like, there's things that happen that are unexpected. We're too caught up in what we expect it to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be this way. And usually it's in the midst of all the uncertainty that you could call it the universe, the divine speaks. And it spoke to me that night. And I have chills just recalling the memory. My body, I can feel it. I have chills all over.
Something you'll never forget. And that in that moment, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
So if you call up Diana, is her name Diana? If you call her up, think she'll go on another trip with you?
Probably not. She's going to listen to this interview. Probably not. I'm at the Grand Canyon for the first time, and of course, I want to go down and see the Colorado River.
Right.
It wasn't responsible to go do that, but we did go far down. But I will tell you this: one of the videos I recorded in the Freedom Challenge, I hiked down. It seemed like an old waterfall. It was all rocks. And you start to get that adrenaline. I'm like, should I be down here? I'm starting to think, like I'm in that, like you talked about the fight or flight. I'm like, wait, what should I do? And I ended up, it worked out perfect. I got to the edge of this. I came down to the bottom and there's a drop off, but I looked down and I saw the Colorado River. Wow. And not only did I see it, I could hear it. And I stopped right there. I set up my tripod, which I have right here. I set this thing up. It was in the Grand Canyon with me. And I recorded one of the questions in the Freedom Challenge, and you could feel the energy because I had that adrenaline flowing, and it comes across in the video. And
wow. Tell us a little bit more about that Freedom Challenge and the questions, because I don't think you went into that as much.
Thank you, Charlene. That was I had these 9 questions to identify and remove limiting beliefs. It was something that I did, as a giveaway because you're building your business. You want to attract people to what you're doing. But it was more because it was my story. I had these limiting beliefs. I had this self-esteem stuff growing up, and that because of, again, I won't get into all the details here, but just because of all the stuff. And I carried the story and of course the circumstances were real, but I talked about looking at the past differently. Right. So once I uncovered that, I took the long road to get there. So these 9 questions are almost like a prequel to Flashpoint, where you can say, okay, what's really holding me back here? Now, a lot of people will sit down and go through this in one thing. It's only 9 questions. But what I said, you know what, this is a process. So I'm going to go really slow, and I'm going to also provide the experience of the beautiful places. So that's what I did. And I did 10 minutes a day where I hit a question and there's some commentary on it to try to elicit, to provoke, to kind of maybe go deeper and to uncover what's really going on and to journey with me. So people are journeying with me. They're getting the question, they're getting the beautiful backdrop. And the idea is to give them an experience, but also to be a catalyst to maybe figure out, like I did, what was holding me back. And that journey was a long one for me. But when I figured it out, it's not like everything was fixed in that moment, but that was a turning point. I would call it like a turning point where it sent me in a different direction to be able to be here with you today. So that was an amazing experience to be able to provide that for people.
Wow.
You know, I was thinking about your.
Do you remember what that question was?
Oh goodness, what was that question? I think that was why has this belief held you back? I think that was the one, because I think actually at that point that was like the turning point of the questions, because part of the questions are you're going back and you're going, okay, you know, kind of what has held you back, and then you're like, okay, why has this held you back? And then there's like a turning point, which I can't remember the exact question off the top of my head, but I'm thinking of the sequence. But I think it was day 7 or 8, maybe day 7 or 8. I want to say, yeah.
That's awesome. What an experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, you know, some of the other things that you shared with us, my goodness gracious, let me put your website back up there again, and so people can get in touch with you and that sort of thing. You've been trained by Tony Robbins, you know, as a speaker.
Yes.
And that is a tremendous opportunity there, because Tony is well known for his ability to take people up a notch and be able to bring out the best in them. And what was that experience like for you working with Tony?
Well, so I never had the opportunity to work with him one-on-one. But what I did do, I was heavily involved in his community. I've met him on a couple occasions, which I had the good fortune of meeting him on a couple occasions. And I also met his partner firsthand. I actually did work with his partner, Chloe Madonna's. I was that's a whole nother Flashpoint moment. I was invited out to a training, and I had the opportunity to be around that. But Tony is a major catalyst in me being here, because he spoke to me similar stories, similar background, similar stories. And so that work is it's actually a part of my work too. It's an emotional elevation, which he talks about your state of mind. But that environment and those people that I met, a part of my journey, created the foundation for me to be here doing this now today. And had it not been for that, Tony, not even specifically Tony, but what Tony's created, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. You know, it's just amazing during your journey there when you walked away from the corporate world in July, was it 2019?
Yes, July 3rd.
And what's amazing, right, the day before Independence Day, you got your independence. But what's amazing, you know, your journey from that point to being on the TV show with us today, that was not even on your radar at that point in time, was it?
So many things, Jim, have not been on my radar. And this is why I encourage people so much. It's trusting what you can't see. It's trusting everyone. I say the divine has put an imprint on your soul, and it's about discovering that and trusting it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, in life, we can all in our lives look into our rearview mirror and say, thank goodness what I wanted so much at that point in my life. I'm so glad it didn't come, you know, true for me. I'm glad it did not come to, because that would have just been, it would have been, the pain would have exceeded the pleasure, is a good way to put that.
Yes. Yes, the pain would have exceeded the pleasure. But tell me a little bit more about what you mean, because I want to make sure I get to understand what you're saying.
Okay. Well, there's been many times in my life that I can recall where I really wanted something to happen. really thought this is the way I need to go. I want it, I want it, I want it. And you feel like you're pushing a chain uphill. And when that happens, that's the universe saying, hey, you're out of balance. You're wanting to go over the cliff somewhere. And I need you not to go in this direction, but I need you to go in this direction.
Yes.
And you keep pushing, and then you look back in your rearview mirror of life, as I like to say, and you think, "Oh my goodness gracious! I'm glad I didn't go in that direction after all, because it would not have taken you to the level of happiness, joy, and jubilee. Because for us being here on this show, this is the fun part. Putting on the show. This is the fun part. This is like recess at school with me. I mean, when I was a kid in school, what do you like about school? I said recess. I was just a typical kid, and but this is the joy and jubilee. This is the icing on the cake of life, and that's about the best way I can put it, because that pandemic and the way we, just came together, and just focused on how can we provide good, solid messages of encouragement and help people, okay, things have changed now, but that means you got to pivot and you got to change too. And this is not the end. This is just a different route that you're going to be a new life or a new chapter, whatever you want to call it, a new leaf in your life, I should say. But to think how it just took off on its own. I tell people what happened back then, it developed its own legs, its own energy, and it literally pulled me. Come on, pull me along, because people think I had to do something or say something or contact somebody to get on E360 TV, and like I think we backed into it. We didn't send no emails or ring anybody's doorbell. It comes to you. That's when you know that you're going down the right path. It's when you're following your heart and you're focused on helping others, and you're concerned about how can you provide, in this particular case, messages of inspiration and hope.
Yes.
And that's your focal point. Everything else comes, it just like a big plow plows all the obstacles out of the way. It just pulls you right along. And it just shocks me still. I mean, it's kind of like, wow, all those years I did it the bonehead way,
Jim, I'm with you so much. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's so true. And I have a quote. It says, it's a quote that I created. It says, the pull of purpose is greater than the push of pain.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
The pull of purpose is greater than the push of pain. When you can get out of that pain and you start to get into your purpose, there's that pull.
Right.
And when that pull happens, it's exactly what you just so eloquently said. And I love when you said the icing on the cake of life. Is that what you said? The icing on the cake.
Yeah. I use that all the time. Yeah.
I love that.
Because that's exactly what it is. So if you're sitting out there, ladies and gentlemen, if there's someone listening says, I'm don't know what I want to do and all that, and you got doubts in your mind, one of the first things I can give you is a free gift. And this is a blessing in disguise from Bill Heinrich. And that is, a book on clarity. You need to have clarity. What is it that you want to do? Where is your heart at?
Yes.
And that's the starting point of all achievement. It's not, what you can do to get rich. It's not what you can do to, whatever, but it starts with the heart. What can you do to be a blessing to others?
So true.
Whether it be something that you invent with your hands or creating with your hands, I should say, or if you write a book or whatever it might be. I mean, that's a starting point. And that's a free ebook from Bill Heinrich that you can get. You don't have to worry about your email is safe there. And he's so busy, he don't chase after people. It's just a free gift. So be sure and take advantage of that. And also, you mentioned earlier, and I didn't want to forget this, Austin, you mentioned something about there's 9 steps there that you could help people with. Would you share that with us, please?
Yes, that's the Freedom Challenge.
Yeah,
people can go through that. I'm at a point where it's complimentary. People have been telling me I should be charging for this, but I'm at this stage where people need it, and I did it as a way to serve, and so it's a gift. It's complimentary, and so people can get that. They can go to the Austin's 360 and go under free gift, or you can go to 9q.yourflashpoint.com. And you
Okay.
receive 9 questions. Once you get the 9 questions, it'll automatically start the videos will start. You'll get one a day over the next 11 days, and you're free to go through it and take what you can from it. I just want you to get something from it. Make sure it serves you.
That's important in life when you come on like that and you give, something as a gift to someone to help them in their life and expect nothing in return.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
There's an old saying that Zig Ziglar used to say, and he used to say, you can get anything out of life that you want as long as you help other good people get what they want. And Solomon wrote about it in, I think it's Proverbs. I know it's in Proverbs. I think it's around chapter 11 or something like that, like verse 23, if I remember correctly. And my numbers could be rusty, but he says, the generous person, by watering others, will be watered themselves. Now think about that. Growing up on a farm in North Carolina, I can relate to the farmer. He's got to work the field. He's got to plant the crops. He's got to work the crops. And in the fall, that is when he will reap his harvest. So therefore, you've got to bless others to be able to be blessed in the future. And that's very critical. And I like to share that with people because that is the starting point of all achievement. It really is. When you quit worrying about yourself, and don't get caught up in yourself, your ego, your wants, your desires, your fears. Just take a deep breath and relax and say, okay, how can I, maybe send an email to someone that's suffering from cancer and just say, I was thinking about you today and you're important to me. You were on my mind. Just a little simple something like that. Think how much that would bless them, and that blessing's going to come back to you. That's just a vibration from the universe. It's a vibration all the way from the Creator, and it's not going to change any more than the sun's going to start rising in the west and setting in the east. That ain't going to change either. I mean,
it's so true, so true. And I like to say, the principles never change. It's our ability to perceive them that does.
Absolutely.
And when you find your passion, you can't wait to share it. You can't wait to share it with other people and bless other people. It's just, it's like that. It snaps, and you can't wait to help others.
That's so true. And
that's your finding point. That's your starting point when you've got it inside and you want to give it away.
Yeah. Because like on this TV show, you can tell I have a lot of fun. And one day somebody asked me, says, what do you do what do you do? And I said, I have fun. You tell people you have fun, they look at you like you're, mentally made to make escape or something, or they look at you like you're weird or something. But if you're not having fun, you're not living. I'm sorry. You're just not living. You owe that to yourself to have fun.
Yes, absolutely. And this has been a lot of fun, and you talked about it. We did it. We had a lot of fun here. I've enjoyed every minute of this and your approach, and just meeting you and having deeper dialogue with you, talking about things that matter to people who care, like Jim Rohn said. Yeah. And it's been amazing learning about Charlene more. And fantastic.
Charlene's just fantastic. She, she's the honorary host here on E360 TV. She's a wonderful lady, and my goodness gracious, I'm so honored to have her, to be hosted the show with her. She's just fantastic, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great to have you. Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll visit after the show. In fact, if your buddy, train robber buddy needs, I might know of someone. Because that would be fun, wouldn't it? That would be fun, wouldn't it?
You want me to get him? Want me to see if he'll come on your show for you?
Oh yeah, heck yeah, that'd be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a train robber on the show today.
You'll like him a lot. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. I'm telling you, he's. I'm gonna. Matter of fact, I owe him a message. I'm gonna call him.
Okay, and we had Jerry. I'm trying to think. Jerry Foster on last Thursday, I think it was. He's that helicopter pilot there in Phoenix who did all those daring rescues, and he was a celebrity. I mean, he put the chopper down in the raging river and saved people and all that. I mean, he was. He took Barry Goldwater, Senator Barry Goldwater, on a ride, and Barry Goldwater says nobody can fly a helicopter like him. that is in their right mind, but he does it kind of in a safe way. Scared him to death. I mean, to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone, and thank you so much for tuning in. And would just be, really great. Oh, Mandy Robinson said hi, Austin. So I'm going to.
Yeah.
I missed that comment, so I apologize, Mandy.
Mandy, well, she just commented. She's one of our co-authors in our upcoming Flashpoint co-authorship. She's from Canada. She's an amazing person, speechwriter. Yeah, just thank you, Mandy. Good to see you on here.
We're out of time. We got to go. Hi, Jim and Charlene, she says. So hi back to you, Mandy.
Hello.
And we got to go. Otherwise, you're going to see that hook coming, drag me off stage. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have the show up later on today up on YouTube, and go to e360tv.com. And you can just scroll down to Positive Vibrations, and then to the right to Message of Inspiration, Hope, and Support. And I'm trying to get all that done in 10 seconds, and I blew it. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Bye-bye.